Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Patched.
Welcome back, and today we got the iPhone SE second generation.
Oh my goodness,
right.
Yes.
And then I guess the only way to prove it with the little, there's a little symbol in the back. But this is crazy. So we're doing a separate series from this with me switching from Android to Apple. Because I purchased this phone and I wanted to try it out. I actually purchased this not for reviews or anything like that. I mainly purchased it because I wanted a new phone. I was getting bored of mine. So do keep an eye out for that video. We'll be doing that. But this is just our first impressions on it, what we think, and sort of some of the accessories you may need with it, things like that. So right out the gate, I mean, it looks sleek, but there's a lot of bezel because you're looking at this guy and you're like, okay, well there's a design we haven't seen in a minute. Because it's been 2 years since all the fairly bezel-less phones have already been out. The iPhone 10 came out, the iPhone 11, all of those just pretty bezel-less except for the little top notch. Well, that's it.
Exactly. And the first impressions that I got when I saw this phone, because Lucas just got in today.
Yeah.
Literally 8 hours ago. So he's been playing with it, and it's really small. Not even just because the screen is so tiny, but because this entire phone is just tiny. Look at that. Comparatively,
Yeah.
This is the 11 Pro Max. Obviously, the 11 Pro Max is the biggest iPhone you can get, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Obviously that's why. But look at how small it is. Not just the body, but also the screen. Let's turn both of them on. I guess that's crazy. That's crazy. So I mean, so you're coming from a bigger screen as well from your Samsung. So
yeah.
How does that feel?
The S9 is really, it wasn't the biggest of that lineup at the time. So I was happy with it because it was a little bit smaller. And this is going even smaller, not just with the footprint of the phone, but again with the screen. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. There's no OLED screen or anything like that. It's just an LCD display. It's just slightly above 720p. I believe they do something weird with the pixels there. But it looks good. It looks like an Apple screen. Honestly, between this and an OLED screen, there's not a huge difference. The main thing we were noticing is it doesn't get as bright as the 11 Pro Max, for example.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I don't really have an issue with.
Unless you're in direct sunlight.
There are
outside,
very,
right?
very few times where I have my brightness cranked all the way up, even on my S9. So not too big of a factor, but hey, if you're one of those guys that's always out in sunlight, there you go. Maybe this isn't the phone for you. Now, I mean, moving on to some of the accessories that you're gonna need with this guy, because it's the SE. It's sort of like the simple edition, which is a term that's been coined by many. It doesn't come with a fast charger. It just comes with the simple 5-watt charger and then a USB to a lightning cord. It's about 3.5 feet.
Simple.
Which is about what you'd expect, but it's capable of fast charging up to 18 watts. So if you want one of these bad boys, and then you need one of these bad boys because it doesn't come with the cable, this is a 2-meter one, so it's about 6.5 feet. I want this. This was mainly a want for me because I wanted it to reach all the way to my bed from the outlet. That's the only reason I got it. But this is $35 for the cable, $30 for this. You end up paying $65 more than you just did for the phone itself. So when you're looking at a $400 phone and then $65 to fast charge said phone, now it's not a necessity, but it's something that's considerable. And the markup on things like cables and chargers is ludicrous. It's insane. We all know that. But again, we're looking at a $400 phone, $65 in accessories after the fact. That's crazy. That's wild. I don't even know what the percentage is on that.
Yeah, and Apple screws you over anyway because the actual brick. Why don't they just use it as a USB? So USB to Lightning, so that you can just use your original cable, right? But then they change it from what is this, USBC to Lightning?
USBC to
so
Lightning.
You have to get another cable if you want to use it faster. I guess USB-C does allow for faster charging though, right? And
it makes sense in the scenario that because there's the new MacBook Pros and everything, you could just plug this cable directly into your MacBook Pro. So that's the main reason they would do something like that, or an iPad Pro, for example.
And also, when I was using Lucas's phone, the new SE, There's no Force Touch, which I very much miss because I got the 11 Pro Max like a couple months ago, and I was coming from the iPhone 6s Plus, which had the Force Touch, and you know the app switcher. So I never used the double click from the home button, which is just it's kind of unintuitive. You have to like go all the way down with your thumb and then double click, and then you know it's multitasking, right? The iPhone 6s Plus had the Force Touch here on the side, so you just kind of press it and then you can just switch your apps. But this doesn't have that, right? So am I just missing something? Like I was trying to use it, there's nothing.
Nothing that I can find.
Yeah.
There's no Face ID on this, which I mean, I kind of feel like I would have liked that, but I'm used to fingerprint scanners since I'm coming from Android, so I don't mind that at all. I am used to it being on the back, which is kind of weird. I find my finger lingering over here to try and sign into the phone.
You know what? They should have done that with the new SE. Put a fingerprint reader on the back and make the screen bigger with like the notch, right? Because this screen is tiny.
But cost of production would have been higher.
I guess.
Because they already sort of have this body. So, I mean, the goal here was just to keep the cost of production low so you can still somehow profit on $400 for a smartphone.
Yes.
Because the phones themselves isn't really where they make a lot of money. I feel like it's mainly the accessories, the proprietary lightning cable, all those things that you need. Now, as for the case, I got the leather case, the nice one. Now you don't have to get that; you can get any case. That's why I'm not really including that in like the accessories charges, because I didn't have to put a case on it. I also ended up getting Apple Care on this, which was $79. I mean, that's not bad for Apple Care considering 2 years. If I crack my screen, it's $29 to get it fixed. So things like that, I mean, something to think about. So you get a $400 phone. I ended up getting the $450 one. I wanted 128 gigs, but let's say you go for a $400 phone, $65 for these, and then $80 for Apple Care. All right, so now we're up to $145 in basically accessories and services. You're paying a lot more than you expected to. So
again, you don't need any of this though, right?
Yeah. You don't need these things.
Yeah.
But if you want to be able to use your phone to its fullest, or I mean, charge it to its capacity, really, these are gonna be things that you're gonna eventually end up buying one way or the other because you're gonna want fast charging on your phone. Let's be honest. Yeah. It's 2020, so something to consider. As for the phone itself, feels super, super snappy. I mean, everything with the A13 processor that's in there.
It's the same as mine, right?
Yeah, it's the same that's in the 11
It's
Pro
the
Max.
Same freaking processor as my phone, which is
guy.
like $1,200 versus this is 3 times cheaper. That's insane.
Exactly.
That's insane.
And people were worried, and we got a lot of comments about the 2,000 milliamp hour battery.
It's that small?
It's not an issue, really, because you're looking at a display that's so small, an A13 processor that's more effectively making use of how you maneuver through the device, and then you've got a relatively low resolution non-OLED panel. So you don't really have a lot of issues with battery life on this. If anything, it's more efficient than the iPhone 8 for sure.
But we'll have to see though. Obviously Lucas is gonna try it out and then test it. We'll give you the full breakdown of the your battery life when you use it, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely get more screen time because I was using it pretty intensively today, transferring all the files, downloading all my apps, getting signed back into everything. So in the 8 or so hours I've had it, I've probably been using it 6 or 7 of those, just signing back into everything and getting all my contacts back, which is something we'll go further into, transferring from Android to iPhone in that series.
Yes, and also another thing I noticed is I was playing around with the phone a little bit, and the phone quality I didn't think I would notice, but I definitely noticed a downgrade in the camera quality from my phone because I use my camera all the time. I'm on Instagram, all that. So I was playing around with it. It's definitely a little bit of a downgrade, but we'll have to see. We'll do a full test in the review.
Oh yeah, and the downgrade shouldn't be a surprise. Let's be honest.
Maybe they're using the same exact camera as on the iPhone 8, right?
Yep, just with a better processor, so you get better post-processing, image effects, stuff like that.
Exactly.
A little snappier. But that's about it.
Yes. So your first impressions are good, right?
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal phone for the price. I mean, it's great. So something to take into mind, something to take into account rather. It's just wild, the price of these phones, and I like how now all these companies hopefully are going to start competing for who can get the lowest price and the best bang for your buck, which is something I would love to see in the phone market because they've been just going up and up and up to a ridiculous extent.
Exactly. But anyways, that's just our first impressions on the new iPhone SE. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next one.
See you in the next one.